Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host. This dysfunctional world.
I'm your boy Baldhead Said,
Uh-oh.
aka Mr. Let's Talk.
Well, let's talk.
What are we talking about today?
We talking about people that got potential to do something, but you be wanting more than they want.
You want whatever they potential is. You want it
More
for them than they want it for themselves.
For themselves.
Oh
yes.
wow, yeah. Let's get into that one.
So, I guess the first situation I can start. I guess worst case scenario, if not to be funny, story time. I had a relative that was from Saginaw, Michigan. He moved down here to live with us back when he was 16. And, it will be a chance to change, 100% chance to change. You know what I'm saying? When he was up in Michigan, he wasn't going to school. He wasn't doing right. He was getting in fights, stealing bikes, stealing little stuff, getting jumped on. All right. So here, he had a clean slate. Nobody knew him, so he didn't have to pretend to be nobody. But he just didn't want it. He didn't want to go to school. He wanted to get in trouble for selling fake weed.
Wow.
He wanted to be a hustler that he didn't have to be. He felt homesick. We tried to send him to Job Corps. He didn't want that. So he ultimately ended up going back to Michigan. Now he's in prison facing some serious charges. Worst case scenario. So how do you feel about people that got potential to do something with opportunity, and all you trying to do is help point them in the right direction? They don't want it.
Yeah. I'm dealing with something like that myself, right? I got a bunch of brothers. So I have a brother, I'm not going to say his name, but he dealing with stuff with his girl. And another brother asked me, what you going to do? I'm like, I'm not going to do nothing. He's like, what you mean? I'm like, well, if they still going to be together, what's the point?
True.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if they not going to learn from their experiences of always arguing and fussing, then what's the point of me stepping in as big brother and saying anything? You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, they're going to do what they want to do anyway.
They are.
Even with all the help, even with what they see, even, you know what I'm saying? So people going to do, especially when they grown. Like, yes, my younger brother, but he grown. He's my grown younger brother. Yeah. So they got a mind of their own and stuff like that. And not saying I'm leaving them out to the wolves. That ain't what I'm saying. But when it comes to matters of the heart, as they say, nah. I take a step back because I've been there, done that. And, for my sister, if I had to run up on somebody, you know what I'm saying? And then you right back with that person, you know what I'm saying? Like once upon a time, you know what I'm saying? Back in the day. And then you still with that person or y'all get back together the next week. Well, what was the point of me and other family members flexing and taking those type of chances if you right back with that person?
But you know what? In that situation, I think it always goes that way. In that man-woman domestic violence dynamic, they always attracted back to that negative pull. Like no matter how big of a positive option you give them, some people are just attracted to that negative pull.
That's true. And I think that's why women like the bad guys. You know what I'm saying? They may not necessarily like the consequences or to be caught up in the consequences,
right?
But they like everything else that come with him,
right?
Or her, whatever the option may be. Can't exclude nobody. So they like that.
I think that's the same thing with people that got like a potential, or they get like a way. Like with my relative, like we gave him a way to change and be somebody different, to have a whole different life,
right?
And he still chose to want to be.
Well, he looked at it as y'all gave him a new area to be the same him.
But that's not what we offered him.
Right, yeah, but that's the mindset of a hustler, you know what I'm saying, that type of person. They're going to be like, okay, you put me over here, I'm going to be me. You put me over here, I don't know nobody, but I'm going to be me.
Right. And
because some people just not going to, I had a hard time adjusting here.
I did too.
I had a very, very hard time adjusting here.
I did too.
Especially once my brothers left. Because we came down here, it was three of us.
Okay.
So, when they left and went back home, it was like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, familiar is something very hard to break out of.
It is. It is. Especially when you got a bunch of people telling you to do it. You know what I'm saying? Because now we feel like they forcing you to do something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's why normally it's that one uncle who can reach the wayward child, or the, you know what I'm saying, or the child that might be straying, or the gangster child, or whatever the child may be. It's always that one uncle or older cousin, and I mean older, or like old enough to be your uncle, but he your cousin.
Well,
It's always that one person who can reach you most of the
I
time.
guess I wasn't that old enough to be his uncle. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, my mom used to tell me stuff like, just looking like he your son, how would you treat him? I'm like, but he's not my son.
Right.
You know
That's different.
At the end of the day, he's not my kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't instill all new traits in him
Right.
overnight.
Right.
So
Yeah. And you can't discipline him if you don't, you know what I'm saying?
do what I want him to do.
Right.
Because
So-
he's not my kid.
Right. It's, yeah. That's, I like that topic. I do, because you can break that down so many different ways. For real.
Okay. So we might have to turn that one into a live.
Absolutely, yeah. We definitely got to talk about this and get everybody's opinion on that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Let them jump in on this one. The potential of people.
That's what we'll call it.
The potential of people, because that's big.
It is.
But at the same time, that's a lot of pressure, because some people look at somebody at the potential they may have, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what if that person don't look at themselves as having that
that's
potential?
what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or what if what the person sees is higher or lower than what the person themselves value? So let's put a number to it. What if the girl value the dude that, just hypothetically, potentially, she'd be like, oh, his potential is a 92. What if the man currently see himself at a 75 and he'd be like, man, I'm probably gonna cap out about 85. So he's already falling 7% short. You know what I'm saying? Already.
True, but I don't even think they'd be that close to looking at their outlook.
Well, I'm just saying.
Like, I think, let's say like if it was a football player and he had natural God-given talent, and she seen him, she would say that's about a 90, 92. And he'd be like, man, I'd be lucky if I make it to the pros. Not realizing every scout is watching you.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. Yeah, and because a lot of times, especially as men, we don't value ourselves that high.
We really don't.
It's just not something that most men do. Men ain't gonna run around saying we teens. We know our worth. Don't get it twisted, but that whole ranking thing.
That's funny you say that, because I was watching your dude with the horseshoe. He had a motto on there, and they asked him what would he rate himself, and he said, I rate myself an 8, right? And so the women are like, why would you rate yourself that high? I think that's wrong. And so he said, because I'm actually a model. I'm cute. I'm handsome enough to really be
a for real
model.
Right.
So, and I've been in the Vogue magazine.
Right.
And she was like, well, we could all be models. And then he was like, but I've been in the Vogue magazine.
Right.
And so the dude was like, you talk to like 1% of the men, they could actually look well enough to be in a Vogue magazine. And so she's like, oh, okay, I'm looking at it wrong and da 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 da. But yeah, we don't. Yeah, we don't see our full potential most of the time.
Because
some men just follow the path better than others.
That's a good way to say it.
Yeah.
Some men would jump off the path intentionally.
Yeah.
And then it just depends on what that path is. But as far as worth, I mean, every man know their worth, right? Because every man is willing to put in the work and get whatever it is we need to get. We just don't run around overvaluing ourselves. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just simply speaking from a man's point of view. Like I don't undervalue myself. If I'm talking to somebody,
I undervalue myself.
I don't ever do that, right? But if I'm talking to somebody, right,
okay,
about a deal and we talking or whatever, and they ask me my price, I'm gonna tell them my price. Don't ask me my price because I'm gonna tell you.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you anyway if we're doing business.
Right.
And it's up to you to tell me whether you accept that or not, and you
That's
counter.
It. Yeah.
And vice versa. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, that's one. And this is a sidebar. That's one of the main reasons that men, quote unquote, get paid more than women.
Because they know how to
men would
negotiate
that price. Actually, every man do that. That number that they slide you is not the final number. You're supposed to negotiate that first number because it speaks to them. It says something to them about you. Whatever that first number is, don't take it. Don't take it. You could damn near not even look at it. They can be like, this is what we offer. You can slide it right back. Understand the language of business. Most women, and it's not a bad thing, I'm not saying it, but they're going to be like, okay, this is your offer, and they're going to take it, and be like, okay. And if it's decent, yeah, they're going to be like, all right, bet.
Yeah.
A man going to be like, okay.
But women do it in a different light.
But I'm saying as far as...
but in that light, they don't use it the same way we use it.
Right.
But they use their value in a different light.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Now, don't get it twisted.
They negotiate what they want. It just so happens that jobs is not the forefront of their mind when they go get them. Mm-hmm. But like they negotiate what they want. In
a way, right. And there's nothing wrong with that though.
If you meet a pretty woman, you were single, and you met a pretty woman and you were a $1 million man, and y'all were dating, you say, hey, let's get married, she would lay down her terms the way she wants in this prenup. Yeah. If she doesn't have $1 million to go with that.
Well, first, she probably ain't gonna even say nothing about a prenup. If the man who got the $1 million or is a millionaire...
If y'all both got money, she'll lay down her terms of the prenup.
Absolutely.
Real fast.
Right.
It won't be a second guess.
Right.
It won't be a, like it was a clip. I forgot what the clip was from, but they negotiate. Dude said, let's get married. And she goes, yeah, let's do it. And so he's like, so house in France? She's like, no, somewhere else. And so he goes, deal. And then she goes, vacation. And then,
so they negotiate.
Yeah,
everything that they're going to do.
And so when they get to the vacation part, she's like, I need a house on, something by the water. He says, I don't know if I'm willing to do that one. And she goes, well, that's my deal breaker. He goes, oh, well, we tried. But it was just a skit of how women negotiate what they want when it comes to what they want. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but that's true.
But like they may not do it with a job for whatever reason. They may not sit across from a boss who intimidates them because they're their boss for whatever that reason, and whatever other reason they're intimidated. They may not say, hey, I deserve $45 an hour instead of $26 an hour.
Absolutely.
They'll say, hey, if I ask for $45, they're going to think I'm being greedy and they won't want to pay me that.
But if you undervalue yourself, they're going to pay you that.
This is true.
So what you going to do? Which is, okay, so most jobs ain't going to be like that, right? But them science, technology, engineering, and math jobs, them STEM jobs, those are high-paying jobs. As more women get into that, which young girls are now starting to get into that, they're going to start making that kind of money. And in those positions, then you won't see, quote-unquote, gender wage gap. You know what I'm saying? Because you make what you make. Same thing is if women go out there and work on an oil rig in the middle of the ocean, you're going to make the same thing the men make. It ain't going to pay you less. Understand that if men...
You might get paid based on experience.
I mean, but she's going to get the same...
If me and you go out there and you've been doing it for 3 years and I just start, I'm going to make
that's what I'm saying.
Because
but I'm saying that woman, if a woman came in with me as a newbie, y'all going to make the same thing.
We're make the same thing.
Right. So, but women don't want to do that kind of work, which I'm not mad at them at that neither. It's a lot of men who don't want to do that kind of work, but I'm just saying, that's why people who work on oil rigs make that kind of money. You know what I'm saying? And climbing the cell phone towers, the few women that do that, you ask them how much they make. You don't hear them saying it's a gender wage gap because they making the same thing the men making because you're doing a dangerous job. You know what I'm saying? Most women tend to want to have air conditioned AC, air conditioning and heat jobs. You know, where they sitting in the office, cubicle, safe space, security guard, or whatever at home. Right. No problem. I ain't saying nothing is wrong with that. I'm not saying that. But those type of jobs don't pay as much as you working in the field, a firefighter, a construction worker, doing something with your hands and skills and trades.
Something that you could possibly lose a limb, or fall off and hurt yourself.
So
that hazardous pay as a mother.
Right. And let me tie this all into what we're saying, the potential of people. Because you hear a lot of women say, oh, I wouldn't date a blue collar worker.
But you don't see the potential in him.
Well, you don't understand how much they make.
It ain't that.
It is that.
She doesn't understand that just because he's a worker, he could turn into a foreman.
But
a foreman makes as much as a supervisor
but a mechanic,
or a vice president.
A mechanic make bread, bro. A mechanic
do make bread.
And that's what I'm saying. They don't understand how much these men make. So when they saying they want a 6-figure man, but you saying you won't take a mechanic, you don't understand some mechanics make 6 figures. That's what I'm saying. They don't get it.
Okay.
They don't get it's like
The potential.
you Xing out the potential of these men when
Right.
these diesel mechanics and this type of mechanic and that
Right.
you see what I'm saying, working on buses or fire trucks, man, them dudes make just look it up.
Bank. They make bank.
Look it up and you be like, oh, wait a minute. Oh,
And it's not hard work.
and it's not right. You know what I'm
gotta
saying?
go to school for
You
it.
go to school for it, you get certified, you make a certain amount of money going in.
Mm-hmm.
But they be like, oh, I don't want to date let's say somebody who work on a garbage truck. Them dudes make bread too.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
Like, and they only working like 4 hours a day and get paid for 8.
Maybe 5.
I mean, okay, let's say 5 at the most. Pretty much however long it take them to do their rap.
Right,
That's it.
that's it.
You know what I'm saying?
But they don't be out there with newbies that don't know the route.
Right, yeah,
They
it's
be out there
vets.
with vets,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
all
we
you
gonna
gotta
knock
do is
this
throw the
out.
trash in the trash
Yep,
can.
and driving and bing, bing, bong. And we gonna get out of there. School bus drivers, they make bread. How I know this? My brother's a school bus driver. I didn't think they made as much as they made. Oh, they make bread, y'all. Yes, I was tripping, bro. And I ain't gonna put his, you know what I'm saying, info out there. But when he told me, and of course, y'all, let me say this, he live up north, right?
Okay.
But I adjusted that for the South. It's decent. It's more than what you would think. A school bus driver. I was like, okay, but you hear women saying, oh, he ain't got no potential. Because he doing that. His potential is this. You know what I'm saying? And it's
Right.
like, wait a
They're not doing
minute.
what they want you to do.
They thinking about the title.
Yeah.
They're not thinking about the money.
The
If
money,
they understood how
right.
much these
The
men
money.
make, they would be more attractive to them type of men. They just simply going off of, oh, he ain't an NBA player, he ain't a singer rapper, you know what I'm saying? He ain't a Bitcoin YouTuber influencer type dude. Oh, so he ain't nothing. And it's like, that's why Kevin Samuels always said most women don't see 85 to 90% of men. And it's like, you don't understand somebody that's a plumber or electrician or HVAC technician.
HVAC, yeah.
Bars too, by the way. That was bars right
That
there.
was bars.
But them dudes, I'm telling you, when they certified y'all, them dudes are making like $60 an hour. $60 an hour, y'all, if y'all don't know, is like $122 a year.
Easy.
Easy, right? So
I'm gonna give you
y'all need to think about that, y'all. $60 an hour is like $122,000 a year. So when y'all be like, oh, you want a 6-figure man, but you won't holler at the plumber because he dirty. Really? You don't understand. But that's the mentality. Y'all don't see the potential in these people. Y'all just think about the title and they don't want to tell their friends, oh, I'm dating a mechanic because it sounds a certain way. And the woman even said on the show, I'm going to add a little sugar to it. Because now you worried about what your homegirl's saying. Because you yourself don't see the potential. You like him, you think he cute or whatever, but you don't really see the potential.
Right.
You're afraid to tell people he a mechanic.
He
Or
a
he's a plumber. Or he's a school bus
HVAC.
driver,
School
HVAC
bus.
technician, right. Or they got to say something like, he got his own company. No, he worked for somebody. Don't be ashamed to say he worked for somebody if he making $45 an hour. Who cares who he worked for? That man making bread. $45, by the way, is like $93,000 a year. Understand this, y'all. So understand, like, y'all don't want these type of dudes based off a title. Like he said, y'all don't see the potential.
Well, this conversation went,
Yep.
but it's okay. It's
That's
okay.
how we do it, though, y'all.
This does make for great conversation for
Always.
for a live group.
Absolutely,
With
y'all.
that being said, I'm your host. Dysfunctional World.
I'm your boy Said, a.k.a. Baldhead Said. We out of time till the next time.
Screaming, let's talk. Peace.